I love being the rabbi of Temple Shir Tikva. Almost every day I enjoy coming into work and look forward to what the day will bring. As my father likes to say, I am a square peg in a square hole. But if I'm honest, this isn't my dream job. I still dream about playing professional soccer for Liverpool in the English Premier League. I know that the chances of that are somewhere between slim and non-existent at my age of life, and that's being generous. My limitations on the soccer field meant that my dream job was never really a reality. But if the Fenway Sports Group ever feel that Liverpool would benefit from some rabbinic support, I'd be happy to offer my services. I'm sure I'm not the only one who fantasized at certain points about what a career in sports might have looked like. Maybe you dreamed about being the next Tom Brady, Serena Williams, or David Ortiz. From the outside looking in, the life of a sports person looks immensely attractive. Get paid to play the game you love. Have the adulation of your fans and travel the world playing a game. Of course, we ignore the immense amounts of pressure that goes into achieving sporting success. We don't think about the countless hours of exercise and practice just to be able to compete. We rarely consider the mental toil that sports bring. At the Summer Olympics, we were reminded of the fact that professional sports are not just physically grueling, but they can also be mentally exhausting. The story of Simone Biles made international headlines as she stepped back from the Olympics due to mental health concerns. As one of her Instagram followers, I have been delighted to see so many pictures of her smiling and living what appears to be her best life ever since. The subject once again came to the fore this week as I watched Ohio State University offensive lineman Harry Miller appear on the Today Show, talking about his medical retirement due to mental health concerns. If you haven't watched the clip, then I will be sharing it on the synagogue Facebook page after services. To hear this young man speak about his struggles is simultaneously painful and inspiring, but it is necessary viewing. From the outside looking in, we might assume that Harry Miller had it all. He was the valedictorian of his high school and was recruited to the Ohio State University on a football scholarship as one of the nation's top players at his position. At college, he maintained a 4.0 grade point average as a mechanical engineering major, and until this past season, was a mainstay of the football team. And alongside this, he volunteers in Ohio and has made missions to Nicaragua to build homes for families in need. This was what the outside world saw of Harry Miller. But on the inside, he was hurting. At the age of 8, he told his mother that he wanted to take his own life. And as he shared in that interview, he recognizes now that he has always been anxious and depressed. While he might have found ways to cope while at high school, the pressures and expectations of being a college athlete were simply too much. The crucial moment for Harry was when he approached his coach Ryan Day at the start of this past year's football season and told him of his intention to kill himself. Coach Day immediately sprang into action and connected him with the college's psychology staff to provide him with the support that he so desperately needed. Harry Miller and his parents credit Coach Day with saving his life because of the way that he responded to the cry for help and the structures he had already put in place to support the mental well-being of his student athletes. In his retirement letter, Harry Miller talks about the physical scars that he hid, the ways that he readied himself to die. As he writes, "And I saw how easy it was for people to dismiss others by talking about how they were just a dumb college kid who didn't know anything. But luckily, I am a student in the College of Engineering, and I have a 4.0 and whatever accolades you might require. So maybe if somebody's hurt can be taken serious for once, it can be mine. And maybe I can vouch for all the other people who hurt, but are not taken seriously because for some reason, pain must have prerequisites. I am inspired by these words of Harry Miller, which is why I'm sharing them with you this evening. But more than that, I feel called to action by his words. We know that there is a mental health crisis in this country, and we know that our young people are facing pressures like never before. And we also know that mental health and well-being still do not receive the attention that they deserve, with a lack of funding for the support that is truly necessary. As a first step, Harry Miller had Coach Ryan Day to reach out to. And so today, I want to say to each and every one of you, but especially to our young people, I, Cantor Hollis, Rabbi Geordie, Allison, Jenna, and all of our staff at Temple Shir Tikva are here to be your coach, to be the person that you can talk to. If you need someone to listen, send me a text message, pick up the phone, or send one of us an email. We will be there to hear you and support you in whatever way we can. It is so clear that the first step is admitting and verbalizing that there is a problem. But a prerequisite to taking that step is having someone who will listen and hear you. We will be those people if and when you need us. That is a commitment that I make to you on behalf of us all. So often we focus on what we can do for others, how we can help make life better for the people who are suffering, but we fail to take proper care of ourselves. As we read the book of Vayikra, Leviticus at this time, at the very heart of this book, and therefore by extension, at the heart of the Torah, is the commandment, Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. We have done this passage a disservice because for too long we have focused on its external function, the need to love our neighbor. And while this is worthy and important of focus, I would argue that it is the secondary element of what is being commanded. Because to truly love your neighbor as yourself, it requires as a first step a love of oneself. That is the heart and soul of this commandment. It begins with the way that we view and treat ourselves. Only then can this instruction be extended to others. Love of oneself, care for oneself, investment in oneself is a Jewish value and commandment. In reflecting on the actions of Coach Day and the program he has built at Ohio State University, I was struck by the parallels he drew between students needing support if they tear their ACL or sprain their ankles and the support they need when the struggle is mental. Just as he needs people to help the players physically, he also needs people to help the players mentally. The changes that they have made at Ohio State with treatments for mental and physical pain are ones that we could and should make across all areas of society. We need to ensure that mental health care is as readily available as physical health care. And we need to remove the stigma so that people are as comfortable talking about their mental pain as they are their physical pain. To help support our community, the members of our mental health initiative have put together a mental health resource guide, which is available in the sanctuary and online. This guide offers a selection of resources to help members of our community to access the care and support that they may need. It's so vitally important. In this week's Torah portion of Shmini, we read about the death of Aaron's sons, Nadav and Avihu. They brought strange fire to the altar in the tabernacle, and as a result, they were consumed by fire. There have been countless interpretations of this passage by generations of Torah scholars. But this week, this year, as I read the passage, I wondered about the way in which our children, who burn with the fire of mental anguish, are all too often consumed by it. And in the Torah, there is a reluctance to mourn, uncertainty about how to process the death of these young men. And so of their father Aaron we read, Vayidom Aaron. Aaron was silent. All too often, we are silent in the face of mental anguish and despair, in the face of lives lost too soon, in the tragedy that is the mental health crisis which our country is facing. We will not follow Aaron's example. We will not be silent. We cannot hold our tongues as we witness what is happening. And so, we will be inspired by Harry Miller. As he said on the Today program, I just kept thinking, if only somebody would just say something. And I'm just really grateful that I was able to have received the care and love and affection that I did so that I could. Following his lead, we must speak out. So I say it again. If you are suffering, if you're in need of help and support, please, please, please reach out to one of the clergy or one of the team here at Temple Shir Tikva. We are here to listen. We are here to help. We are here to support one another as a community. As society faces a mental health crisis, we must remove the stigma, encourage the conversation, and ensure that everyone is seen and heard. Shabbat Shalom.